Hello to everyone, this is Vishal and we are on the next session today, that is related to the Kotlin collections. So as we are working with the sessions related to the KMM, Kotlin multi-platforms for mobile, and we have chart sessions also, in which we can learn the line chart and other charts and how we can make it a dynamic and other coroutine sessions. So there are many approaches, but meanwhile somebody says that we need collections, how we can use that. So I'm making a small video on that, so you can learn that Kotlin collections, and it's very similar to the Java collections, but some basic things need to discuss about today. So these collection classes, how we can work with the Kotlin and this kind. So this is a short session, but we learn a lot. Actually, for the programming level, we can do that. So first, I'm giving thanks to all users and wish you a happy new year. We'll start it as in the Kotlin collections today. And as we discussed on our last session, that is related to the KMM. So we'll soon I will make a video on that, the second part of that KMM also, so you can go with that sessions. So we'll create a queue for that. Okay, so let us start this Kotlin collections, and as we know that collections very important class whenever we use the data integrations and where we use that data without DB. So we can use these collections there. So the Kotlin also introduced the same concepts like the Java and other languages. A collection usually contains a number of objects of the same types, and these objects in the collections are called elements or items. That's very simple definition of the collection. And here we can say that if you ever go with a standard library of the Kotlin, so there will be the collection class, and then we can use that collection values be there. So types and other things we can learn. So collections are common concept for the most programming language. So if you say that collection usually contains a number of objects like the same type, and we can say the objects in the collections are called elements or the items, and all, like if we say that example of the students, or we go for the employees, or likewise that. So if we need a collection, so that means if you want to go with calculation something with them, like an salary, average age, and whatever we, so you can just use that collections on that. So not every time we can approach the DB, so these we can use. So types of collections, we can say that here we can use the immutable and mutable, two kind of collections. So immutable collections, or simply generally we can say the collections, it means that it supports only the read-only functionalities. So there we can't write, as the name we can say that it is immutable. If you go with the definitions of the immutable and mutable, so you can simply, if we don't do anything, don't write the things, or we can't change or update the things, so that's we can say immutable. But in the mutable things, we can work it as write functionalities also. That means we can update it or we can change it. So that means if we do any modifications with that, so that's we are mutable, and otherwise it is immutable. I think you know this simple definition. So if we go with the immutable collections, so first we discuss this. So immutable collections, there will be the list, set, and map, like the other languages, or the base example we can say the Java, because of Kotlin is fully based on that. So if that list, so we can say that is a list of, we have a set of, we have map of. So if you specify generic, so that we are T, and if we go with the any specific like a string, so you can pass that list of string or like that, or you can use the others also. So then, and we can say that list and order collections with access to elements by indices, integers, number that reflect their positions, and elements can occur more than once in a list. So I think the simple definition of a list I will describe you in a practical session as well. So if we go for just like a telephone number or students IDs or whatever be, so there is a group of digits, their order is important, and order is important because of they repeat it. So that means list is based on the orders. the otherwise is that's called is set. Set is a collections of a unique elements. It reflects the mathematical abstractions of a set, a group of objects without repetitions, and we can say the order of set elements has no significance. So that means there is no need of order in the set. Simple definition: in a list we need order, in a set there is no need of order. So that means if they are unique, their order is not important. The most important thing is that. And mapping is justly based on the, we can say that some key definition, like that we can say that some IDs. So if you say the student ID like that and employee ID like that, so that means we can map it with a key, like our pages, a book pages. So just like say that this index, that means it is on the page of 105 page. So that means we go directly on that. The same we can do that in the mappings here. So the simple three definitions, we can say that list, set and map. So how we can use that, we will discuss it at the practical. So collections, we can say that it is the root of collections hierarchy. It is the top. So this interface represents the common behavior of a read-only collections and retrieving size. What is it? That read-only. So that means immutable. So checking item membership and so on. The collection inherits from the iterable. So that means when we go for the iterations, multiple repetitions, likewise that. So it is inherits from that. So if you go for the definitions, so that is the depth on that. So that defines the operations for the iterating elements. You can use the collections as a parameter of a function that applies to the different collection types. So that means we can use in the list and set for the specific use. Okay. So if we go for again, that's the definition. So we can say that it is an order collection. Number one, that is a basic thing. You can see the definition anywhere in the Google. So you just, but I'm just describing that a simple definition. What is that? Elements can be repeated in a list any number of times. Simple line. So program demonstrate, like I will describe you this program. We'll discuss it. Same we can go for the set. It is a collection of an order elements, and we will discuss also these programs without order and mapping. So the how the keys are important to map that an element. So the map keys are unique and holds an value for each key, and it sets of key value pairs. So we can use that a key value pair here. So that's the definition. So simple three areas we have to work for the immutable, and then we work for the mutable. So that is the basic differences. So first we go for the immutable practical, and then we go for the mutable practical. So that's we discussed here. Okay, so let us start in Android Studio. So here on first we check with the list immutable. So for that I am creating that function test, and here in this function test we can go for the val immutable list. I'm making the small videos because of sometimes it is an important whenever you work with long practicals or long practical sessions with there. So that means we can use these things be like, because of the base is not clear, you can't do the big work. So this is a very simple example of this. Sometimes what happen that list of getting an error, can't find it or whatever be, so you can clear your cache or invalid that restart your system, your Android Studio, so it can work on that. Because of I have checked there are this kind of bugs in Stack Overflow. So you just check that if you don't if you have been getting an error on this list of, you just simply invalid cache, restart it. So now it works on. So you can just go for the test, and then here how we can use this list. So you just simply say that this is a 4, this is our item in immutable list, and then you can go for the print of this. So this is your print and item. So by this you can work it as an simply list of that. So this is a list of we have worked with as an immutable list. So this is called collection, first kind of collection. So we have other collections also, so we'll see one by one. I'm not run this programs, you can try that on your system, that's very simple, so I'm not wasting on time on this. If you get any issue or likewise that, you can put the comment on this. Okay, so I will check on that. So simply you can just go for the names and anything you can pass it on your strings, multiple strings you can that. This is your list, that is called immutable list, and then run this. Simply list is this. Okay, let us start it. Other one. Okay, so as this is a simple immutable list, so if you go with the next part, so that we can go with your val immutable, we can go for the set, and here we have a set of. Okay, so whenever you work with the set of, you can work with like any strings or your values be whatever be, you can put it here. Okay, so there is no any particular sequence we needed or likewise that, no need of this. Okay, so you can just go for your just same, you can use this as a print off. Okay, so here you can just use your immutable sets. And the third is your, whenever you work with the immutable map, simple practice you can do that, immutable map. And on this what we have, this is your set of, and here inside that, here we need a keys, that means that is important whenever you work with this set of map of, we are using the map of. Yeah, so here we need a key, so just like we can assign it 1 2 likewise a comma 2 2 b, so same you can do that approaches be like. Okay, and if you want to print that, so you can just simply copy it and say that immutable, and here we have a okay, or don't do that, you can use it like this dot keys, that is important. Okay, so it works be like this, or if you want to show these things, so you can work it as an these item, so that is you can work. But whatever be, the main thing is that we can't do any operations, that means any modifications in this, so we are using a mutable on that cases, because if you want to do something with this, it get in a compile error on that cases. So simply you can work with this, there is no any order, this with the order, this will your with the map keys. Okay, so if you want to insert any new map key, so you can't do it here, it gives you the errors. And but if you using it as a mutable, so it works on that cases. Okay, so that's the important, the map of is very important. Okay, so let us start it, what be the mutabilities on that cases, first theory and then practical. Okay, so as we discussed about the mutable, the same we can use that mutable collections, only the difference is that we can use as a write functionalities, that means we can update it, just like we can go for the mutable list of, that is array list of, and mutable set of, that means hash set of, and mutable map of, or you can say the hash map of. So these are the differences between the mutable and immutable. So as we worked practically on the immutable, so same here. So the list we can say that it supports the read and write functionality. So set is also we can work with like as in the read and the write functionalities, but how we can do that approaches, I'll describe you as in the practical. So the same we can follow it as we discussed in immutable. Okay, so let's see how we can do these things as a practical in Android Studio. So let's start it. Okay, so as discussed, what is the mutables? That is very interesting in a practical. So how we can do that? Just like say above, we can do as an immutable. Now we go for mutable. Okay, so for that mutable, what happened that if we say that we have a value mutable list, and that on that list we can say that mutable list of, and on this mutable list of, if we can say that this one is a comma b, like the same immutable we can use, and this is your c. Okay, so three items we have. And now if I want to insert something, be like said you can say that mutable list dot add. So here you can do that any functionalities on that, but if you use that add in immutable, it never works. Okay, so the first approach is you can add it like this, or you can check it like this. We have a 0, and on that we can pass it the value d, like. Okay, or you can say that mutable list on that dot add, you can add these values as in a g. So these you can work, but if you try to use these things be here, like on this in the case of immutable. Okay, so it show you the error because of it never works be like this, because of we have a read only work on that. So here you can do the same, and you can print like this simply here. So this is your first functionality. You can run that on your systems and see what be the result here. This is a simple practical session. And the second is you can use that mutable. This very simple things I'm making for that, just for understanding. Okay, so sometimes it works because of many user wants on that, given small examples be like that. So I'm giving this mutable set of. So here if you go for the set of, I am making that integer kind of set, and here if I say that 2 comma 3, two values be here, what it show to you, and we can say that mutable set, and you can say that mutable set dot add, and if you want to add something be here, so this you can work it. That means repetitions, or you can say that 5. Okay, so both you can try to add it here, and simply you can print these things and check that how it works. That's how we work. And the third approach is for the mapping system. So we can just say that mutable map. Okay, so the last we can see that how this mutable map of working. So you can just simply say that where mutable map, and you just go for your mutable map of, and here if you want to go with your integer and your string values, and you can pass it, you can say that 2 to b, and I'm give the key to 3 to c. So these keys we can give into this, and if you want to add some more keys be like that, because of it is a mutable. So this is your mutable map dot, you can just put, simply put, and here this is your key, you can say 1 comma a. So that means you can pass these keys be here simply. And if you want to go for the print here, little bit change, so like an above, you can just there we can use it direct item. So here you can use that mutable map dot values. Okay, so by this you can work on that an item print. So these very simple structures, you can just check that what be the, how you can put that, and what be the output of these things, and how you can work with these sets, and this one. Okay, but if using that immutable map and if you want to add some key here, it never works because of it is simple collection of immutability. Okay, so when just generally say that what is the collection, so this be the related to the immutable. But whenever we can work with the collections with mutability, so this is your mutable list of, mutable sets of, mutable map of. So the simple differences in a Kotlin in a single line difference. So this is a very small session but useful sessions. You can just check that and it works, I mean, in many places in our project. So we'll soon provide you the new videos, some big videos be like related to your KMM also. So as I get a time, I will create for you. So thank you so much for your love and appreciations. Thanks a lot.